Welcome to the Three Men and a Podcast with me, Verzo.
Me, Parky.
And me, Hammy.
So we're just three middle-aged blokes just going to talk nonsense. What do you think, boys?
We've been very good at it.
Yeah.
For many years of practicing.
Yeah, as you say, no warm-ups required. We just sit here and we're just going to talk some nonsense.
I should get rid of my bad joke.
Your bad joke? See, you started before we said hello. Never mind. We don't edit, so it's going to be in there. It's going to be in there for prosperity, mate. So, welcome to episode 5, everyone. And with me, as usual, is Hammy and Parky.
Hello there.
Evening all. Afternoon all. I probably shouldn't say what time
Good
of day
morning.
it is. Good morning.
Yeah, because you don't know when people are listening.
And
do you?
Happy New Year.
Don't say that, mate. It's the 13th.
But our listeners have not heard our dulcet tones in 2023.
No, they haven't.
So Happy New Year, listeners.
Unless they've listened to previous episodes last week.
And we hope you've had a wonderful
that.
seasonal period.
Yeah.
There's a gag there, but I'm definitely not going down that road.
Nor me. Right, so what we're going to do today, we're going to pick best of British 11s, aren't we?
We are football 11s.
Yes, and we're going to do it over what we call eras. So we're going to do sort of 70s to 90s and then 90s onwards, aren't we?
Yeah. There might be some that
Two for
cross
each
over
position.
slightly, but
Yeah. So there'll be two goalkeepers. One will be an older one, and one will be a newer one.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So what we're gonna rattle through. We're gonna get the goalkeeper and the defence done. Have a break. Do the midfield. Have a break. Do up top and pick the manager.
And then we can ask the listeners to decide who they think would win out of the two respective 11s. That would
Yes.
be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. And I think the
Getting some listener involvement, yeah.
the more modern team would win because they're a lot younger.
Yeah, there is that, yeah.
They're both at the age of 25.
Yeah, at their prime.
Yeah,
So-
I had to think about that for a second there.
You
I
did,
didn't know if you were referring to our listeners, how young our listeners were, and I was thinking, I don't think they're very young, most of them.
No, they're not. They're all our mates, so they're well into it now, aren't they?
Yeah, listen to us talking shit.
Yeah. So goalkeepers then. What are we going to do, boys? Parky, do you want to go first?
Parky to go first. Right, I'll go with the sort of slightly more modern era, if you like. David Seaman. Very decent goalkeeper, I thought.
Indeed, yeah.
For Arsenal
Over a long period
and
as well.
for England. I know he had. I feel a bit sorry for him because he's always remembered for Naeem from the halfway line for Arsenal,
Yeah.
and Ronaldinho from
Yeah.
close to the halfway line for England.
But if David Beckham had actually put 2 feet into Ronaldinho, then that would never
That would
have
never
happened.
have gone in.
There is that. I think it's harsh with a goalkeeper because goalkeepers are always one mistake away from being the villain.
Yeah.
They make 10 great saves, let one through the legs, and what do you remember?
You look at his career as a whole, as an England
He-
keeper, it's
made a
90% brilliant.
He made a save for Arsenal against Sheffield United, I believe it was, in an FA Cup semi-final at Old Trafford. And it was the little fella, Pescasolido.
Paul
Oh,
Pescasolido. He was the husband of Karen Brady.
I think
That's
she
right.
is
Are they
the
still
husband of-
together?
I don't know.
But
You're fired.
he made a save from him that was right up there on a level with the Banks and Pele save. It was
Yeah.
behind him. Yeah, if you Google it or YouTube it and have a look, you'll see it. It's a
Now-
phenomenal save.
Weirdly, he's one of Katie's sort of footballer crushes.
Downside of him when he was a player is he had both a shit tash and really shit hair.
Yeah. And
But
that
And he was from
and that
Rotherham.
multicoloured, speckly yellow jumper weren't
Can't
great,
really
was
blame
it?
him for that.
It was a bit sickly, wasn't
Umbro
Yeah.
made that crap kit.
Yeah, I know.
But he did have a shit tash and shit hair. But,
But,
yeah, he's probably my
it? He still has it.
No, he's gone now. I see he was on TV a little while ago and he's literally got
Wasn't he on The Masked Dancer
normal hair and no tash.
with his new wife?
He actually kind of... is that him?
Did I ever tell you I got into trouble with one of the girls who used to come to football with us about David Seaman because she brought her friend along and they were talking about fantasy football and I said to her, do you women prefer Flowers or Seaman?
Great question.
And I got called a pervert and a wrong and all sorts, mate.
Well, it's disgusting.
I think it's a very justifiable question.
No,
I mean, you could have been more blunt and said you prefer roses or spunk.
I could have done, mate, yeah. Now, I mentioned Flowers. Tim Flowers played for Blackburn. Was he any good?
Southampton.
Dan Southampton?
Mainly, I would have thought.
Yeah, but I went specifically for Blackburn just to annoy Neil.
Quite true.
Yeah.
Oh, is Neil listening?
He probably
He
will
will be. Yeah. He's about 8 episodes behind, but he'll catch up.
It's not bad.
But he's on 5.
Because we're only on 5.
Neil's that so far behind in life he doesn't know Diana's dead yet.
To be fair, you don't know what a podcast is.
No.
He's still got a Walkman.
Yeah.
I have recorded the first episode on cassette for you.
I think Flowers was he was Seaman's understudy for England for a reason. He weren't as good as Seaman.
I'd have loved for him to go to lower league football and win the Vase.
Yes. But
Oh, come on, that was fantastic. That's far better than anything that Hammy's come up with in the previous 4 episodes.
that's a bit harsh, Harry.
I think that's very harsh.
I mean joke-wise, I don't mean content to the podcast. I mean your jokes, mate.
I'm hoping he's
Yeah,
gonna
they're quite poor.
I am hoping he comes to the party tonight, though, because obviously, like last episode with the six grand pop stars around the table, he just didn't do anything.
Well,
Didn't
I'll
give
stick one in
anything,
there
did he?
then, and it's clearly the best choice of the keepers, Southall. Neville Southall,
Yeah, well, I suppose he's up against Clements,
the best bin
Chilwell.
man goalkeeper in the world.
but I do believe if he was English, Clements and Shilton would have got as many caps.
Would you think he'd have been ahead?
He's been ahead of them.
Yes.
At his peak, he was a very good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody could
Do you know Tony,
save
he
that more.
got hump on and sat in his goal because they.
did,
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
he was a
10 half time,
passionate player as well.
Was that
very
because
passionate.
they got Rich Teasers in the digestives in the tea out or something? It was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, something was going on, wasn't it? And he just sat all through the half-time break leaning against his post.
He got the humbug.
Reading
Everton mint. So
Oh, get out.
Reading his programme or something. So sat there reading the programme.
did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Big Nev sitting.
He was Big Nev then, and he's really Big Nev
Bigger
now.
Nev.
he's a very large fella.
He's definitely gone to the Neil Ruddock school of I've finished playing football.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
I saw a video
like-
clip of him the other day when he absolutely made Nigel Farage to look like the bellend he is.
I saw that.
And
yeah.
I
He was
thought-
on his show,
I
wasn't he?
think, calm down, Nev. You need to slow down a bit, pal.
So I'm just on that basis, nothing to do with his football skills. Nev's in.
Yeah, fair enough.
If he made Nigel Farage look like a bellend, get it.
Hey,
See, but I think Nigel Farage makes Nigel Farage look like a bellend.
He
that's
does.
not difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got Big Nev one end, and we've got
We going Dave Seaman? Are we agreeing on Dave
Dave
Seaman?
Seaman the other.
Anybody else? I mean, the Schiltz and the Clements, Bravado. They were the
If-
best English at the time, I suppose.
If Ron Greenwood couldn't pick between the two, do you think we three can?
That's a good point, that.
Ron Greenwood.
That's a good point. I think I out of the 3 keepers, if bearing in mind we're going to have one keeper from each era, I think we all think Southall was an actually better goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so he's in. So
That's the keeper's done.
Southall's in, Seaman's
Done.
in. So Southall at one
Bosh.
end, Seaman at the other.
perfect. So that's the goalkeeper's done and dusted. So what we're going to do now, we'll do fullbacks.
Left.
Fullbacks, yeah, left back.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to go first on that one?
Yes,
Well, I
mate.
think
Yeah.
you will, yeah.
I'm going to go for the older era and me blue and white rose tinted spectacles. Would they be blue and white rose tinted? No, they'd be just
Be
blue
violets,
and
wouldn't they?
white, blue and white spectacles.
Blue and white violets.
Parma violets.
Yeah.
Parma violet gin. That's a weird one.
And Mick Mills had a purple
I like
patch.
Parma Violet ice
Didn't he?
cream.
Mick Mills went for a purple patch.
He did. Did he?
Parma violet, purple.
Purple. Purple. What's that got to do with McNeil's?
You got him Parma
These
violets.
jokes are getting
Against
worse.
glasses.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Anyway, how do you turn this thing off?
Don't.
Yeah, Mick Mills, for me, in the older era, tremendous left back, England captain, Ipswich captain, 700 odd games. You're proper 7 out of 10 every week kind of player.
He's versatile as well. He could play centre half and he could play right back as well,
He
couldn't
could,
he?
yeah, and I also think
Could he?
as
Yeah.
a younger player, I think he also played further up the pitch in the midfield.
And his moustache was
Bit
phenomenal.
like Dave Wallace when he played for the Labour Club, but better.
Reg Hollis.
No, Dave Wallace.
And I also think bizarrely that it might just be me that when I was growing up, I thought Mick Mills looked a bit like my dad, especially when
Oh,
he
I
lost a
get
bit of
that,
hair.
yeah.
There was 2 people I used to think looked like my dad. It was George from George and Mildred, which was Brian
Murphy,
Brian
yeah.
Murphy, who bizarrely was a goalkeeper who played a few games for Ipswich, but that's another story.
Did he?
Not that Brian Murphy, another Brian Murphy.
Oh,
But yeah, so yeah, Mick Mills was in because he played for England, he played for
He was
Ipswich.
like your dad, but taller.
He looked a bit like my dad. Yeah, not much taller. He was only about 2 inches. He's about 5'7", Mick Mills.
Was that what he was?
Yeah, he wasn't very tall, I don't think. My dad was 5'3".
There was a fantastic picture of Mick Mills on Twitter the other day, and I think I shared it. It was from the Admiral account, and it was when it was in the 82 World Cup, and Mick was
That
there.
was a great kid.
why
Yeah.
didn't any of the big teams buy him?
Well, he was...
Because he only went to Southampton.
Yeah, but don't forget...
Loyal, wasn't he?
Don't forget, in the early 80s, Ipswich were one of the big 2. Where
Yeah,
was
but
Where-
whenever he was one of the last to go, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was loyal to us. He went to
Yeah.
Southampton, didn't he?
Yeah, Southampton had a hell of a side then, didn't they?
I believe he
Something
actually
with
also...
Keegan and
Yeah.
He might have had one or 2
people.
seasons at Stoke. after
Yes.
Southampton. 'cause
And Coventry.
Then he managed them,
I
didn't he?
think he managed Stoke.
Did he play for Coventry?
Don't he played? He might have managed. I think
Yeah.
He played for Stoke and managed Stoke as well.
He did
So
manage
yeah, Mickey
them.
Mills. Mickey Mills for me is my. But this is just because I'm a Town fan. But I think
See,
it's,
from that sort of era, if we're looking, Kenny Sansom,
Yep,
Yeah,
very
very
good player.
Palace and Arsenal.
Played for England. Probably he took over from Nick Mills, probably, and played
probably
he
did,
might have
yeah.
done,
five,
yeah.
six,
He played-
7
he-
years
yeah.
solidly
Yeah.
at right back.
he played 80 odd games for England. He was actually Kenny Sansom was actually a little bit
Shorter than me.
bit ahead of his time. I was going to say.
And he had a
He
nice,
was a raiding.
He was more of a raiding left back.
he had a
bit
nice
like,
moustache.
a bit like the modern
They all,
ones.
these,
Yeah.
a lot of all the players so far have got moustaches.
We like we
Yeah.
clearly like Tashes. Maybe we'll have a Tash 11.
Southwell had a tash, didn't he?
Seaman Tash,
Yeah.
if you like that sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh, Hammy, you've been waiting 5 episodes, but that's a brilliant one. I like that.
Yeah.
Good work.
So,
Yeah. Sorry, is this cream on my Tash?
so
or semen?
I think,
Mills and Sansom. Tash.
yeah, I think we'll go Mills then. We have a modern day. I'm going to pick one, and you're going to be surprised because I really detest one of the clubs he played for. Ashley Cole,
Yeah, very good shout.
good player.
Bit of a cock.
Him or Phil Neville for me.
Nah, never weren't good enough. Never won he played because his brother did.
Yeah.
Bang average,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yes.
I think Ashley Cole is a really good
I think
shout.
Bo Neville's a very average players who really, in a proper era, shouldn't have got a single cap between them.
I think Robertson at Liverpool is decent at the moment, but I think Ashley Cole, despite the fact that he came across as a
Any Scottish fullbacks we can think
massive
of?
bell end. Well, Andy Robertson is Scottish, isn't
Oh, is he?
But I think Ashley Cole outdoes him. If you're only picking one player for each position, you've kind of got to go with.
In the modern era, you'd have to go something to beat Ashley Cole in
He's
that position.
over 100 caps.
Well,
for England
you've
as well.
got Pearce, haven't you?
And Pearce is another very
Yeah.
good shout. It's between the two of them. I think Pearce.
I'd go for Pearce myself.
I think Pearce is slightly more towards that older era team, whereas Ashley Cole is
Yeah,
more
he's
of
sort
the
of,
modern.
he sort of bridges both
No
sides.
idea
doesn't
why
he?
I'm waving my arms around frantically because no one can see them.
Okay.
But
I know. And I'm
What did you
recording that. We're on live on YouTube. We're not. Oh,
Well.
fuck. So are we gonna pencil in Ashley Cole?
well, we're gonna have to vote on it because Hammy likes Pearce, doesn't he? So I'm Ashley Cole.
I said Ashley. It was my.
Well, I think
it was
Ashley
my
Cole,
pick.
as an actual defender, was better than Pearce. Pearce had a free kick.
Yeah.
And
And it always disappointed me when Basil Bowley headbutted him that he never got him back in that game.
Yeah.
Never understood that.
So for a hard man, he won't be hard, was he?
I thought
Okay.
I was waiting throughout the rest of that game. He's going to get him, and he never went near him.
I think he shouted at a few little boys and he's bully.
I
And when the
reckon,
big boys come after him, he didn't want to know.
I reckon he kicked fuck out of him in the tunnel. To be honest.
So is Stuart Pearce Gripper Stepson?
to be fair, Stuart Pearce is Ed Granger. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah.
There's definitely a resemblance there as well.
Yeah. Psycho.
Well, let's.
I was thinking more looks, but anyway.
Anyway, sorry for that. So Stuart Pearce, no, he's not in. It's
Right.
Ashley Cole,
Ashley Cole and Mickey Mills.
And Mickey Mills.
Paul Parker.
Oh yeah, good shout. But he
Oh, we've
scored.
got the right back now.
He scored an own goal. Let's rule him out.
He's right back.
And he
He's
played for
right back,
QPR.
Paul Parker.
So you want Paul Parker as right back?
He's a
No.
right back, yeah.
Was he at Lincoln?
Never.
No, he QPR, wasn't
QP. Aha.
he? Yeah.
Keep the Man United, but he's a right back. definitely.
Yeah.
No, forget about him.
So we're having right backs now then.
Well,
Phil Neal.
Phil Neal. Yeah.
Both. Phil Neal's.
No, just the one that was at Liverpool.
Oh, not the one at Lincoln.
No, he was too busy
Playing cricket.
getting 32 not out for Worcestershire.
He played for England a
He
few
also
times.
had a tremendous tash though, Phil Neal, who played
He
for
had a good tash.
He did.
He would fit in with the tash.
Tash
brigade.
did.
It was David Boone-esque, wasn't it?
He was.
I
But
like.
wouldn't he be better off with Mickey Mills, David Boone?
Yeah. Fantastic. Now I think Phil Neal. I'd go with that.
I'm going to chuck in George Burley because I think as well he was another very good fullback.
I don't think he ever had a tash.
Made his debut at 17 against the great.
And
Vets.
you'd have the Ipswich Town fullbacks.
We'd have the fullbacks, and you keep the Scottish contingent happy by having a Scottish player in there. So
Yeah.
So that's a good reason
we've
to
got Burley,
not include him.
Burley versus Neil, really. I think in that era.
I think that's Phil Neal then.
If you guys are both going Phil Neal, I'm out. So Phil Neal's
Yeah.
in.
So as you lost the vote on this one, and you go first stumps on modern era.
Modern era right backs. I think England have actually got quite a few decent ones at the moment, but that's too soon to say whether they're.
And they got about 8 in the last squad.
Yeah,
There's
we
too many
We
at
are
the moment,
overloaded,
yeah.
but I think Reece James is, if he stays fit, is going to be someone we talk about in 10 years as a great. But
Do you want us
Gareth,
to do a
do you know
podcast in 10 years? A couple of people might have actually shared it on their social medias by then.
It's not hard to press that button.
No, it's not.
yeah, it's going to be probably an unpopular choice because people just don't like him. Although I like him as a footballer, I also like him as a pundit, and I kind of like his political stance on a lot of stuff as well. So I'm going for Gary Neville.
You've got my support on that one fully. He was my pick in my head.
He was your pick.
Yeah.
Hammy's not going to like that because he's not a big fan of Gary Neville, are you?
I like Gary Neville punditry. I like Gary Neville's
You can say you
Left-
definitely like his politics,
his
don't you?
politics-ish. I didn't like the fact he went to Qatar. But to me, he's a very average player.
You think? 70 caps for England?
And God
So-
knows how many trophies.
I'm
he's
sorry,
got.
between him and his brother, they got over 100 caps, and I'm sorry.
Do you
If we'd
think-
have had decent right-backs, neither of them should have
Do you
got
think
a
Phil
cap
Neville
for
should have
England.
stuck at cricket because he could have opened the bat for
Yes.
He could have, yeah. Do you
Phil
know,
Neville definitely should never have played for England.
talking about
Gary Neville perhaps should have been a reserve right-back.
Talking about Gary Neville, I've read his book, and his is one of the better football books.
It's called Red, isn't it?
Yeah, his first one. I think he's had another one since then. But he
What's that one, blue?
he actually comes across as a very humble guy.
Yeah.
He just wanted to play for United, which, you know, that's his prerogative. I know a lot of people don't like Man United, but that was his dream. And I in one of the stories in the
Subhuman
book,
scum.
I mean, he admits that he feels his brother was a better player than him. He says it. He also says in the book
I think his sister was a better player than him.
that he went to England meet up with the England squad when Venables was manager, and he was full of beans. And Venables said to him, "You know, you're happy? What's going on?" He said, "I've just signed a 7-year contract at United." And Terry Venables said, "What have you done that for? You didn't need to do that." And the salary, and Gary Neville said, "I don't care what the salary was, just want to play for United."
Yeah.
And I think that came across well for me. Around the same time, I read Robbie Savage's book, which is the complete opposite to that. It's about how much he earned when he bought his first Ferrari and all that bollocks.
Now,
And
one of my favourite football quotes is Roy Keane on Robbie Savage. He said, when I was Sunderland manager, he said I was going to sign him. He said,
Oh, yeah.
it was close to signing him, so I rang him. He said, went through his answer phone, and he'd done that Budweiser, said, "What's up?" He said, I put the phone down, said, "I'm not signing that."
fair play. I don't like Roy Keane, but I'll have him.
I like Roy Keane. I remember Roy Keane saying something about, he was talking, he said, everybody praises Ferguson, but he's not the greatest manager in the world. I mean, his son Darren got a championship medal. Fuck's sake. And that is quite true.
me-
Darren Ferguson was one of the worst footballers ever to
If
play
you're going down that road,
top flight football.
If you're going down that road, Jimmy Traore got a Champions League winners medal,
True,
and
yeah.
he was awful playing for Liverpool.
David May got a
But we're
Premier League medal.
David,
are we
who I thought was I reckon he was a cleaner.
Yeah.
He just happened to be on the.
are we settled on Neville because it's 2 against 1?
I
We are,
think
really,
we're
aren't we?
Neville.
Yeah,
so
you can have Neville.
So
I can't think of another option.
we've got
so
Neville.
Why not?
Neville and Neil.
Neville and Neil are one
Neil
side.
and Neville, Mills and Boone the other.
Mills and Cole the other side.
Yeah, so just we now need
centre halves.
4 centre halves, 2 from each era.
Well, there's got to be there's definitely one which we all agree on 100% without any argument. Terence Butcher,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd have Terry Butcher,
Yeah.
for sure.
Singaporean.
I'd even give him the band.
Well, the Capitano.
Yeah,
Capitano.
but we'll discuss that at the end
Yes.
when we're dishing out sort
Yeah,
of
Butch.
seniority.
Well,
That era, if you want to go with Butch, is great. And also, if you want to actually almost look at it from a footballing perspective, you've got Butch as your left-sided, hairy-ass defender, won everything in the air, and then you put Alan Hansen on the other side of him with the right foot,
Alan
and
Hansen.
much more cultured.
Very
from
cultured.
the back.
cultured before his time.
So,
before
Hansen
a cultured
would be really
before
good.
a centre back who
Would be a
playing
great
centre back.
team, would be a great pairing, wouldn't they?
I
Him
think
and
there's-
Lawrence
I think there's
together.
no
I know
argument.
Lawrence Republic of Ireland, but them two both could play with.
Yeah,
with
I don't
the
think it's
ball.
any argument. I think we've selected our 2 centre halves for
You've
that.
got your
that
2 for
side.
that era.
Nobody else is.
Now, your modern era, again, I don't know whether some people just don't like him. It might be because he played for United, but Rio Ferdinand for me. 100%.
Definitely.
just because he was.
He was the first
Great footballer.
real good footballer.
Again, as you say,
centre-back.
he won't kick it into Rose Ed, was he? He was actually stop, have a little look.
No, I
See what-
thought him and Terry. I know Terry's a bit of a cunt, but I don't think I've done a C-bum on this yet, have I?
Well, you have.
But for that man, you can say that as much as you
But
want.
I think in terms
Awful
of
bloke.
football for England, those two were a good centre half pairing because you had the defender.
I actually thought Terry.
So
brought,
are you-
I thought Terry
are you-
brought Rio Ferdinand down.
Are you nominating him?
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not
good.
with
Because
Terry.
even I'd
I
yeah.
can't do that to you, mate. I'm not.
No,
I
you
can't do that
can't.
to you.
No.
Now, alongside him, probably just ish on the cusp of this side, Tony Adams.
Yeah, I'm liking
So
that.
that's another one that sort of goes the eras. doesn't it?
Transcends eras, as Parky would
Yeah.
often say.
Transcends the eras.
Yeah, I think also again, just looking at it from a real, if it was a real team perspective, you've got Adams as your hairy ass defender,
Yeah.
and your block tackler, and you head everything away and everything else, and then you've got Ferdinando Culture next to him,
Yeah.
Who's next to Butcher?
Alan Hansen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So I think they would work.
So,
actually
yep,
as
sounds
proper
right
real
to me.
partnership.
Butcher and Hansen up against
Adams and Ferdinand.
Adams and Ferdinand. I think that's a perfect time to actually
Pause.
pause and
Refresh.
then we'll jot these down so at the end we can read them all out. And then we'll come back after the break and do the midfield, boys.
Good.
Good.
Part two, boys, and we're going to pick some midfields. And we haven't decided, but it's just popped into my head. I'm assuming we're just going the bog standard 4-4-2.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
going to say we haven't done a
Yeah.
formation.
I think it's always best to do 4-4-2 when you
Yeah,
pick a team.
all this Christmas tree diamond nonsense is rubbish, and let's just go 4-4-2.
We've just had Christmas.
Yeah, job
And
done.
I'm a diamond.
So, left wing. And you're the most left wing of the three of us, so you can go first.
Oh dear.
Jeremy Corbyn on the left wing?
I've written them down, by the way, as right back, because that's how it would be on your team. So goalkeeper, right back, 2 centre halves, and then left back.
Okay.
I'd have put lefts first.
No, that's right. So.
I did on a formation.
But we don't want that. So, who are you going left wing?
Was Gareth Bale.
There he is.
Very good shout.
Yeah.
Some of those goals he scored. I just saw early today. I did watch some 5 minutes of Gareth Bale's best goals for Real Madrid, and
I think
And
left
there
wing
was-
is arguably the easiest position to choose for both
There's a lot
areas.
about
Very
the-
simple.
although
Bale and Giggs.
England have always struggled with
That's why I say
left
Bale
wing.
and Giggs, the two Welsh guys.
Well, Giggs, yeah.
You
What about Steve McManaman?
too
yeah.
inconsistent.
Yeah, very inconsistent.
But
He was absolutely, when he was in full flow, he was awesome to watch. Him and Robbie Fowler linking up together was amazing.
absolutely adored at Real Madrid.
Who was Stevie Mac? Yeah.
They loved him. He didn't put a foot wrong. He was brilliant for them.
Not on a par with not, and I also think
Because he come back to Man City, didn't he? He didn't really do anything.
No, he didn't.
I don't think he's on a par with the two.
I think Bale's better than him.
Yeah, I
I,
think.
and I like McManaman. I thought he was
Yeah.
very good.
I
But
think Bale in the modern era for a left wing is
definitely modern
fine,
era, Bale and Giggs.
and Giggs is going to take some beating.
Yeah.
I can't think because England never really have had a left-sided player.
No.
That's why we wasted
Didn't-
Scholes' talent
Didn't
over there.
when
Didn't
Giggs
we?
get divorced? Wasn't the joke that he got divorced and his missus still had 7 more league titles than Steve Gerrard?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
But I think that's quite an easy one for me. I don't. Not a massive discussion to be had. John Barnes.
Do you
In
know
and out,
what?
in and
He
out.
got 70 caps more than he should have done because he scored that wonder goal.
You know.
Yeah, but to be fair, at his best, John Barnes was brilliant, but unfortunately his best was 40% of the time.
I think that
And he did it at Liverpool, to be fair to him.
John
Although-
Barnes at his best still wasn't very good.
Although I'm just going to chuck a little spanner in the works here.
The game against Argentina in '86, he nearly won it for us with his crossing. He got 2 across, he got 1 across that Lineker put in, and 1 somehow I still to this day don't understand how it didn't go in the goal.
Yeah,
which would have made it 2
I'm going
all.
to put a little spanner in the works here, but we can vote on it.
Yeah.
Are they Giggs and Bale both from the modern era?
Nah. Giggs.
Giggs is a
just about.
transcender.
He's a transcender,
Yeah.
transgender transcender.
You can't say stuff like that, mate.
He'll beat you up. No, you won't, because
100%,
you're a bloke.
Yeah, no, let's do that one then. Let's get that one in.
Yeah.
So
That's
You
got to
actually
be
write
there.
it down as well.
I am doing it as I go.
Well
now.
done.
Cool.
Although no, I'm not writing that down. It's just left wing. It needs to be right wing there. So
I don't like right
Why
wing.
don't you just drop it down 3 spots then?
Yeah, that was just messing me OCD. So
So we've got.
Should we go to the other side or go?
Well, I think we'll go to the other side to help him with his.
Well, you go right wing because you're the Stasi.
Right wing. I don't know.
right wing or right midfield.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be wing.
Where did Gaza play? He was centre mid, wasn't he?
Centre.
Brian Robson was centre mid.
They played Scholes sometimes on the left and right.
Paul Scholes.
Probably the English Perlo.
Not for me because
Should've-
it shouldn't have been played there. Wrong.
He should have been played central, and we should have built the team around him.
Yeah. You two have a little thing. You two have your little say, and because I'm struggling a little bit.
Right.
Well,
right,
you
right
could pick
midfield.
Beckham, but I think Beckham's one of the most overrated players there's ever been.
No, I disagree with you.
He was good. He was good.
Excellent at what he did. Dragged England through many a tournament.
Oh, good at free kicks.
Um,
He cost us a goal against Brazil.
I think it's quite hard because for some reason I'm not remembering too many from the eras we were looking at. Everton had some good players in that 80s side.
Paul Bradshaw?
Pat Nevin?
No.
Pat Nevin
Kevin
played-
Sheedy. No, he's
He was
Republic.
left.
Republic, wasn't
He
he?
was
he was
Republic.
left-sided anyway, Kevin
Trevor
Sheedy.
Stephen.
Yeah.
Trevor Stephen was the one I was trying
Yeah.
to think of because I had Gary Stevens and Trevor Stephen, didn't he? He was the
Gary
right-
Stevens was a right back.
Yeah.
We could
I-
thought that earlier.
I
He was a good
think-
player.
Everton they suffered the most
They did.
For European.
through the European ban
They did,
because
yeah.
I think
They'd have probably
Everton
gone on to
would have-
dominate
They would have
football.
sold all their players. They'd have dominated European football
For
in
3 or 4 years.
in the late 80s, like Liverpool did in the 70s.
Oh yeah, they definitely would have.
Shadow of a doubt that would have happened.
Yeah, very good side.
But it's
Very,
still
very
quite
good.
funny.
Why? Because you don't like them.
Well, it's not that I don't. When I was in Liverpool, I was a red. So.
Was it? I think I love the city of Liverpool. And
I
if
don't
lived there,
dislike Everton.
I think I'd be a blue.
That's the thing. Liverpool Everton isn't a hatred thing. It's a friendly rivalry.
Yeah.
It
So-
was when I was there, anyway.
So that Everton side,
Apart from Andy Gray,
he only had one season with them, didn't he?
Gary Lineker only had one season.
Yeah, he
didn't
did.
He scored 40 goals.
Well, we'll talk about him later, possibly when we do the.
I think-
do the
I might
forwards.
play him right wing. That's what I was thinking.
In the modern era, for me, it is really hard to see past Beckham. Like him or loathe him.
Yeah, I'll go. With
I
Bale.
think
I was a
because of
Beckham
what
fan.
he did. I mean, even just that goal against Greece at Old Trafford
Yeah.
is worthy of.
So Beckham's in.
That's a hell of a.
Going back on the eras, though, it's not so easy.
Can't think of an older.
Which,
So there's Trevor Stephen, obviously, like we've spoken.
Eric
about.
Gates.
Eric Gates, wasn't he not more of a
he played more in the hole as number 10, wasn't
inside right, wasn't he?
he? He's more like what would be called a modern 10, a modern day number 10
Yeah.
these days, Gates.
Um,
He also only played a couple of times for England. I don't know whether he was the standard.
Tony Woodcock weren't a winger, was he?
He was a striker.
Striker.
Tony Mortimer,
The Aston Villa
Aston
man.
Villa player. Did he play right?
I think
Or was he
might have been-
central?
I think he might have been left.
But he was a very good player.
He was underrated for sure.
A
He'll
lot-
get in our
He
underrated.
was another team Aston Villa who were
so
better than what they were.
Maybe
credit
if we move on and pick the centre mids, and then what we got left behind might fall into the right. We might.
Yeah, we might be able to find it that way. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, straight away, if you want to go with me, is obviously Gaza straight in there for me.
for. Yes, Gaza. Yes,
And for me, the other end, Brian Robson.
no,
No.
Which era is Gaza fitting in? Because he's another one who kind of.
it's a transcendent. I think you'd have to.
He needs to go. He needs to go in with the Tony Adams, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think
He's
he's a
got to go in-
modern-
he's got to go in this side with
It's gotta
Beckham.
be-
Yeah, this side of the fence. So it's a pity we couldn't have Republic of Ireland there because I'd have had Kane in there without a shadow.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't.
You'd
but then I might have had
you'd struggle to
McGrath. I
agree
might have
with
had Paul McGrath in at centre back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had Keane in there, man.
I definitely would have.
I can think of a number of players better than Keane. It might be a little bit of a stretch to put him on the right side. I'm just thinking right side.
Who Keane?
Kenny Dalglish.
No, he's a forward.
I don't know.
And the
We've only
greatest
got two-
footballer Britain's ever
We've
produced.
only got two
Do you want-
forwards.
Just a little teaser for
While
next
you're
time.
on for Kenny, it really annoys me when you see all these idiots, modern day idiots, putting their top tens of footballers of all time, and King Kenny's not on there.
King Kenny is my favourite footballer ever.
He was an amazing footballer.
He's the best British footballer there's ever been.
I'm going to have one midfielder from the older era then, central mid.
Yeah.
If I say 36 goals in a season,
Johnny.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you
great-
know?
great shout.
Having seen
28
him,
goals for Liverpool after he left
and
us.
to actually go to Liverpool and
And do it.
outscore Ian Rush.
I know.
he was brilliant.
Loved
wasn't
it both sides.
he? Do you know I'm going to
Both
go with
teams.
Walk?
We've got Walk in.
Yeah.
Straight
And he
in.
had a long career, and he was still doing it
Do you
for
know what?
Ipswich.
You're going to get accused of Ipswich bias, but we can't disagree
And
with your picks. We
I
can't.
played against John Walk on Sunday Football a few times as well.
Oh, look, I mean,
He's
I've-
actually at home now doing a podcast, and he's picked you.
I've-
I don't think he has.
in the parallel universe, yeah. I mean, we've not got Kevin Beattie in there, which Bobby Robson himself says is one of the best
But
players.
then-
He was, but he didn't
But then-
play enough.
No, he didn't.
He was
He
injured
was-
all the
Injuries
time.
killed him.
Unfortunately, he was ejected too much.
The time frame we're looking at, sort of late 70s onwards. He, like you say, he was coming towards the end of his career, wasn't he? And
He had to give up when he was 28, didn't he? Because of all the
How
injections.
about a little bit of a wild card for the older side? And bearing in mind he played in the right midfield, Norman Whiteside. And we've got no Northern Irish players in the side.
He's a good player.
That's a hell of a shout.
That is a
And
good
he played
shout.
on the right. If you remember his goal against Everton in the FA Cup,
yeah.
he played on the
Outstanding,
right
wasn't
and
it?
cut in,
Outstanding.
curled it in with his
Yeah.
leg.
Didn't he do something? He had a
Youngest
great
ever, youngest player
When
since Pele to play in a World
Ireland
Cup.
beat
Yeah.
Spain in that World Cup in '82. He
17,
played then.
wasn't he?
He was 17
Yeah.
years old.
I
He might
thought-
even been 16.
I think
then.
you've pulled one out of the bag here, mate.
We can have Whiteside in the old.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think you're well done.
Yeah, that's a
So,
good shout, isn't it?
I like that.
Yeah.
So we've got Whiteside and Walk, and in the moderns we've got Beckham and Gascoigne.
White side for the right side.
So we are still looking for a centre mid.
So we got a Gaza who's
For the older times,
Yeah.
I went for Brian Robson. You boys have said no.
No, I haven't said no.
Well,
I didn't
well,
get to
you,
that point.
you got Brian Robson, Ray Wilkins.
Yeah.
You got
Souness was a hell of a midfielder.
Graham
Fucking
Souness,
hell, yeah.
Ray Kennedy.
Yeah.
Terry Mack was a decent midfielder.
Yeah.
Very good player.
you
I
know,
would
I think-
personally say,
I think I'd go for Graham
Bearing in
Souness.
mind-
Graham Souness.
bearing in mind, I'm starting to think of them as a football team,
Yeah.
not just individuals. You got Walkie in there alongside him. If Walkie's going to get himself forward, you want Robson or Souness.
I'd go for
Alongside.
Souness.
Babysit him. Not babysit him, but
That's-
he look after himself.
that's-
But I think Robson's more of a marauder and wouldn't sit in it.
I think the
Souness
moment
would
we're
sit.
picking this team, Robson could be injured.
More than likely.
Shoulder?
Yeah.
Possibly the shoulder. Yes.
So I think possibly Souness, because he's...
Souness.
And you've got your out evil bastard, haven't you?
And he looked like Yozza Hughes.
Yeah, gets the job. Gets a job in your midfield party.
And to be fair,
could do
that's
that. I could do
also,
that.
to be honest, it's also given us a bit of balance with the Brits rather than just completely filling the team.
Well,
with
we've
English
got to
players.
help
We've
the
got
others,
a good,
haven't we?
healthy. We've got two Jocks and a Northern Irishman in the middle of the park here with gigs on the left. You got,
Funny enough, when we
you got
talk-
no English midfielders.
Multicultural.
When we talked about this in the kitchen before we come into the studio to record, we joked and said it'd probably be all English, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it's not. So have we got the midfield, boys?
We're going with, for the olds, we're going with Walk and Souness in the middle and Giggs and Whiteside, yeah?
Yep.
That's all agreed. So for the newbies, we've got Beckham, Gascoigne and Gareth Bale. So we're missing one midfielder.
For the moderns.
This is a modern midfielder
I
we're
mean,
missing.
so we got- we need a-
Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes.
We need
If it's that,
Skulls.
if it's that three, it's Skulls for me.
Scholes. Scholes is the
It shouldn't even be on the same.
he's the
park as
Andrea
him.
Pirlo of our game who was
Yeah.
completely wasted.
Yeah.
Like Glenn Hoddle. We haven't mentioned Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah, it's trying to fit all these in. This is why it's difficult to do.
I
an
just
11.
realised we haven't
Yeah.
mentioned Glenn Hoddle.
I'd have Hoddle in my side.
Tony Hughes.
I didn't rate Lampard as a player or a manager.
Yeah, I'd have Gerrard over Lampard.
And,
but I'm torn.
Lampard. They always used to say it's Gerrard or Lampard.
But-
no, it's Scholes, then one of them.
When all the kids do their retweeting of these polls, it's always who's better, Messi or Ronaldo,
Lewandowski
isn't
often
it?
wins the Polish one anyway.
Yeah. Now it's they also do who was the best out of these three.
Do you remember Kazmiri Dana?
Yeah.
Kazmir Dana?
Casemiro Stenya.
He
Yeah.
played for Man City. He was a Pole.
Yeah.
Dana.
Dana, D-E-Y-N-A, I don't know how it's pronounced. Dana.
Casemiro Stenya. Or
He was
something,
one
wasn't it?
of the first foreign players.
I remember Kanchelskis.
We had Tyson Murin. Obviously, the Spurs
remember
had Ardiles and Villa.
Alberto Tarantini. Birmingham.
Alberto-
Sheffield United have an Argentinian as
They had
well.
Alex Sabella,
Yes.
Or
Was
Sabello.
it Alberto?
Tarantino, something like that.
Something
Chris
like, yeah.
Tarrant.
Yeah. He was Birmingham as well.
Yeah, he was.
Didier Cease. Didier Cease played for Birmingham.
Didier Baptiste
Didier
played for
Cease played
Harchester.
for Villa.
I thought he played for Birmingham.
Did he? Maybe. Might be wrong. I don't. To be fair, wouldn't question me.
But it doesn't matter really
Truth,
because they're pretty awful players.
We've gone off on a little bit of a tangent here. We're looking for this, and
Elusive midfielder.
I Paul Scholes.
Skulls.
Well, he's in, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think Gerrard's probably, but Skulls.
Right, boys. So we've got our midfield there. So we'll have another little break here, and then we'll come back and do the forwards management and pick the captains. Here we go. Part 3, boys, and it's the forwards management team. So 2 out-and-out strikers per team. Or a number 10, a number 9, and a number 10, or...
2 forwards.
Could we give 2 forwards?
Kenny Dalglish, without a second shadow of a doubt, is the best British footballer there has ever been. In my
I think
life.
that's hard to disagree with Dalglish.
But what was his goals per game ratio?
Okay.
But he's in, because he's one of my favourites.
He scored 1 in every 3. And he was also a creator.
He's definitely-
and he was a real.
He's definitely one of the forwards in the old boys.
And he was a
isn't
shithouser.
I also liked it when he was manager of Blackburn, and I think they've just lost. And one of the pundits or commentators after the game said, "So Kenny, how did you see the game?" And he went, "From the dugout."
He is quite a funny
dry,
man.
wasn't he?
He's very dry, isn't
Very
he?
dry.
which
And
is-
he's also... you saw his reaction after Hillsborough, what a decent human being he
What
was
a
as
lovely
well.
man. And that's why he resigned from Liverpool, because it took so much out of him.
Yeah,
Took that, going to all those, he went to every single funeral.
he did. That's immense, isn't it?
But he is an absolute god in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think it's a decent shout.
And
See, he's a
probably-
forward, but one number 7.
You are going to need him.
He's a number 10. He's not.
Real
He's not.
out-and-out goal scorer to go alongside him, though.
So,
Well, you got
Gary Lineker.
Gary Lineker, you've got Ian Rush, you've got Aldridge.
Mariner.
We've got a lot.
Yeah.
Mariner.
I think really, in terms of if you could just go in for goals and his knack and his ability to score goals everywhere he went, it's hard to see past Lineker, really.
Yeah.
Mark Hateley.
So,
Lineker, he's got to be there or thereabouts, hasn't he?
he has, yeah. I think it's difficult to leave him out. And
Would you put Kane in there? I wouldn't.
in the modern one, I would,
I-
for certain, because I think he's one of the most underrated players in England.
Do you think they should realign the goal scored tallies
Rooney?
to how they do Olympic medals? So, like in Olympic medals, you could have 20 golds, 15, 500 bronzes, and 500 silver. So you could have 1,020 medals, but the team
one
below
gold,
you
you're the
could
top.
have 21, just 21 golds only, and that's all the medals they've won. And they top the table. So should it be, yes, he scored 49 for England, but it should just be based on
Who you
goals.
played?
No penalties.
He don't like penalties, Jamie. He's got to be in his bonnet about
No
penalties.
penalties.
Always has
That's
it.
part of the game.
Yeah, that's
So,
my answer.
so he could have 36 goals. Well, he can have 46 goals, but only 36 of them count in the table.
I wish he'd have
because-
got 47 and not missed that one against France. To be
Yeah.
fair.
I don't know. Just put that
Are we,
out
are we are we are we going with Lineker for the olds?
Oh,
Is
definitely.
he in? So,
Yeah.
Dalglish-
You've got him.
so we've got our 11 for the olds. boys.
Mark Hughes,
No, he's
one of
not
the
in.
best volleyers of the ball.
He can't get in on 2 decent goals. He's not in.
2. Frank Stapleton. I always used to like Frank Stapleton.
Frank Stapleton.
Republic of Ireland, wasn't he?
So,
Is he Republic? He is Republican.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think with the olds, just to recap, we've done quite well here because this is a British 11. So we've got Neville Southall,
Yeah.
Phil Neal, Terry Butcher, Alan Hansen, Mick Mills, Norman Whiteside, Johnny Walk, Graham Souness, Ryan Giggs, Kenny Dalglish, Gary Lineker.
It's more Scottish
So
than
we've
anything.
actually got a good split there. So you've got you got 3 Welsh. No, sorry, 2 Welsh. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Scottish players. Norman Whiteside is the sole Northern Irish. And then in terms of English, where we thought we would be heavily English biased, we've only got 3 English
has he
players.
how? Strange, isn't it?
Scotland have got 4, and England have got 3. Wales have got 3, Northern Ireland have got 1.
Wow.
So
Crazy.
that's a different era we were watching. When you look at the modern team,
That's when we had the home internationals.
Yeah.
when you look at the modern team, bearing in mind we've only got 9 players picked so far,
8 English?
8 English and 1 Welsh. So does that mean Scottish football has deteriorated quite considerably? I think the truthful answer is yes.
Yes, I'm
Yes, it
Northern
has,
Irish.
yeah. Now, you know me, I follow follow the Hearts, and I watch their games, and they'd struggle. Hearts would struggle to beat teams in League One in England.
Yeah, I think I haven't watched Hearts for a long time. We watched Hearts when we were away on holiday in Mallorca against Fiorentina.
Yeah.
And they were taught a big lesson that
Yeah.
night. And that's a fairly average Italian side, but they were poles apart, weren't they?
I watched the last Edinburgh derby, and they're both teams poor.
Hearts were
football.
superior.
Oh, yes, but they were poor.
But that's the crazy thing. We've
3 players who played for Lincoln 3 years ago.
we've seen Hearts, and we're all in agreement that they're poor, but they're the third best side in Scotland, and they're poor. Even the best 2 sides currently,
Are poor.
I think they'd struggle to be mid-table in the Championship.
Yeah,
Something
Yeah,
outrageous.
everyone talks about them going, let's get them in the Premier League.
No.
They're not Premier League standards.
And
sorry.
they don't deserve to jump straight
If they
down.
came to England to play football, they'd have to start at the bottom.
Yeah.
And Rangers are quite used to going back to the bottom, aren't they? Because they deserve to. Old Sevco deserved it. Didn't even deserve to come back. Anyway, I've just alienated a lot of Rangers fans now, haven't I?
Again.
I don't care. It's the truth, though, isn't it?
Evening, Ninky, if you're listening.
Yeah. It's the truth.
I think
Hearts are rubbish, but they pay their taxes.
yeah. I think they got punished and the punishment was fair and
They
come
paid
back.
their price, and I think got back. And I'd prefer Rangers over Celtic.
Oh,
any day of the week.
awful football club, Celtic. Awful.
Oh, I can't stand them.
Yeah.
But we've gone off on one of our famous tangents.
Well, you get me wound up.
But we've got the 2 strikers for the newbies.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna
See, I was dancing around this because I didn't have a clue.
because you don't watch enough. You've got the likes of clearly Shearer, Harry Kane. These guys are scoring goals for fun constantly.
Well, Alan
but
Shearer,
it would be nice to find.
I would pick Alan Shearer.
Is the
you can have-
greatest.
you can have them both.
He's the greatest England striker I've seen after Gary Lineker, so he's got to be in the team.
And he provides more than just he's not a poacher. He can score from 30 yards quite comfortably.
Yeah.
He can be
I-
a bit of a
problem with
shit house as
Shearer.
well.
I think
I think Shearer.
Do you-
we're
Do
going
you
to
know-
struggle for balance because ultimately
A lot of these cross teams played with each other, but who cares? It's our rules, isn't it?
It's our rules.
What do you mean played with each other?
Like, so if we're putting Shearer into this side,
Well, he would belong in there with Adams.
yeah,
They crossed the.
Some
Yeah.
of them crossed. Giggs started quite early,
yeah,
But
yeah.
what-
That's fine. I'm happy with it then.
so
Shearer.
Shearer's in,
It's got to be Shearer.
and like I say, I would
If
like
Shearer should have been the top England scorer of all time.
So
it would be nice if there was some balance, and we've not found a home for Rooney.
Rooney is
Is he a striker?
I think he's a 10.
yeah.
You know, this is where we maybe should have gone 4-3-3,
So let's
or do we pick an 11 and 3
I
subs?
don't think
Let's-
Rooney gets the respect.
let's put Rooney and Shearer then.
So no Harry Kane.
No Harry Kane.
Is there anybody else we could think of?
We've got with the balance for the new side is heavily towards England, but it's I'm struggling.
Michael Owen.
I'm struggling to think of
Good shout on Michael Owen, but
not
Shearer. I mean,
Ian Rush.
wrong era.
wrong era. He's probably the other side.
It's the other side.
Fair enough.
At the moment, trying to go back as best I can. I can't think of
Kevin Wilson.
any players
Local.
from Northern Ireland.
Scotland or
Well,
Wales.
unfortunately, I can't
Wales,
think of
yeah.
another Northern Irish player that is as big a player as Norman Whiteside.
Alan Hunter, I bet you.
Alan Hunter. I mean, in recent form, it is the guy who played for Lincoln and Ipswich who scored.
Gareth McCauley.
Yeah, so the
I think-
last one.
I think
I
we're
can
going to
think
go
of-
with Rooney, aren't we?
Yeah.
Shearer and Rooney.
Yeah,
So there's your 2-11s.
Cool.
let's recap then, Adam.
Now, for the newbies, we've got David Seaman, Gary Neville, Tony Adams, Rio Ferdinand, Ashley Cole, David Beckham, Paul Gascoigne, Paul Scholes, Gareth Bale, Alan Shearer, and Wayne Rooney.
It's a good team.
Two good sides there.
That's
Two very
great
good sides.
So we want some managers. So the old boys.
You've got quite a good choice for the old boys, I think. You've got some better managers. You've got Bobby Robson, of course, Brian
Paisley.
Clough, Bob
Shankly.
Paisley, Shankly. There's a number. Although Shankly's
Probably a little bit
too
earlier.
early. Paisley would fit in.
Paisley.
You're probably talking about between those three.
Yeah.
Clearly,
This side,
This side of the newer side is hard.
Alex Ferguson.
Well, it has to be, doesn't it? I suppose.
But yeah, he's
There's the
arguably
longevity.
both.
There's
Yeah,
no other
so-
manager. There's successful managers.
I mean, if you want my honest opinion, and I don't want to kill the debate quickly, but Bobby Robson one side, Sir Alex Ferguson the other. That's to me. They're the two greatest British managers ever.
Yeah. And Brian Clough is now digging himself out to come and have a pop at us.
Possibly, but
Yeah.
If Brian Clough would have managed England, he probably would have been there. But I would pick Bob
think what
Paisley
we'll do
myself.
another podcast. We'll pick a Headbangers 11, and there's your manager.
I'd go with Bob Paisley, but I'm happy to be out for it. Bobby Robson is still a great manager. Bobby Robson managed in Spain. He also managed Newcastle. He managed in Holland.
Yeah.
He managed all around the world.
Bob Paisley only managed Liverpool. Bob Paisley had money, even though it
not massive, but
but more than Ipswich.
A lot more than other people.
Ipswich was a provincial town.
And Paisley, no disrespect to Paisley, but he just kept the factory
rolling.
rolling.
Brian Clough did it with two provincial teams. He won the title with Derby.
He didn't manage.
And he managed Derby.
He didn't manage
at
all over
Liverpool.
Europe.
He managed.
There's all this setup, and Paisley just helped the cogs turn, didn't he?
But Shankly built it up. Shankly built
he done
it
it well. I'm not disrespecting what he's achieved, but Robson built it from scratch, didn't he? Ipswich.
Howard Kendall.
Over 18 years. Howard Kendall's
good manager.
Howard Kendall's a really good shout, but it's difficult.
No. I think Bobby Robson was ahead of him. Don't get me wrong. So you got England to the semi-final of the World Cup.
Looking at these, captain, I think I would go with old boys. I would pick Terry Butcher, and new boys, I'd pick Tony Adams.
I'd go with Adams. I'd go with Souness for the old boys.
I think he might not be on the pitch long enough.
He's got a tash.
I think he might have...
How many tashes have we got on the old boys?
I think Souness would have put Beckham in a rosette first 10 minutes.
I must admit, I'll kind of go with Jamie on this, to be fair. Butcher and Adams for me. Although Souness is a good shout as well.
They're all... Neil captain on occasion. Butcher was captain.
Mills,
Hansen occasionally captain. Mills was captain.
Souness was. Dalglish would have been at certain
Did Walk?
times.
Did he manage?
Not very
captain
often.
Ipswich in the latter
Not so much.
part.
No, I don't think he was.
Dalglish was a manager, not a captain.
But
whereas these new ones, Bale, Shearer,
really,
Rooney, Beckham.
So I think
Ferdinand would have been captain, and Neville perhaps.
Definitely,
has probably
Adams
got captain.
I think you've got to go with the ones who were captains as well. But was Butcher captain for England?
No.
Maybe Souness is the one.
Who was captain when?
It was McMills, wasn't it?
Mills and Brian Robson.
In 1986, it would have been Brian Robson.
Brian Robson and Ray Wilkins was his
and
deputy.
he never made the time, so give it to Souness in.
Peter Beardsley. We didn't think about Peter Beardsley.
It's really tough to do only 11.
Peter Beardsley.
Imagine if you did the modern day squad of 22. That would be.
It would.
Well, that's a good. Look, who do you think? Well, listeners, who do you think would win out of? They're all 25 years old. All these players are 25 years old. They play each other. Who's going to win?
Well, that's it. You've got the choice of old or new. Just let us know on the social medias, old or new.
And are you going to list the teams on the social media so guys can see it? Or are you going to
would I let them listen to it
first?
Listen first, I think, because if you publicise it, they think, well, there's no point because we know what the teams are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Stupid idea, Parky.
No.
No, it is a stupid idea.
Yeah, it was. Shit.
We're going for the managers then,
Yeah.
are we? I'm going to go for
We've done the managers.
Ricky Tomlinson.
So that's it then, boys. That's another podcast done and dusted.
Thank you very much.
So goodbye from Verzo.
Goodbye from Hammy.
Come on.
Fuck off from Parky.